Jaylen Waddle, another guy with a high ankle sprain. I think he only played like 28 snaps or something last week. He was in and out. Why don't you try to clear some of that for us?
Same injury, different level of severity. So this is actually a perfect segue. So Waddle is not expected to play this week. I would be surprised, honestly, if he plays before the playoffs. Like the Dolphins are a real Super Bowl contender. They don't want to mess around with one of their key contributor in these last couple games when they've already clinched a playoff spot. Didn't practice today. McDaniels said that he's probably not going to play this week. So unfortunately, we're not going to have Jaylen Waddle for our championship fantasy matchups. This is one where typically we would say we'll check in on him next week, but fantasy season's over this week. So unfortunately, his fantasy season's over. No, but from a sports betting standpoint, I'm going to continue tweeting and Instagramming and all that stuff up through the Super Bowl. So I'll have updates on him, probably mostly from my Twitter throughout the rest of until the Super Bowl's over.
Tom, forget what it was last year, but some of your stuff made me some decent cash last year. It was you were fading somebody because of whatever it was. It's the good stuff to follow, right? Always look for that edge, and if it's coming from an injury standpoint or injury analysis, it's good for me and it will help. Tom, what's your Twitter again? At injury
At Fantasy Injury T, the
T.
letter T is in Tom.
Great guy to follow. We're on TikTok. We are on Instagram. We're all over the damn place, and Tom's going to keep working hard to get you that information through the whole end of the season. The late edition, it was Zay Flowers, a calf injury, so I don't really have much on him. Tom, I'll let you talk about the rookie from the Ravens.
Well, here's the deal. He was an estimated DNP today with a calf injury. They didn't actually practice, so that changes things to some degree in my head. He also played 78% of snaps last week, which is his usual snap rate. So we need to see what happens the rest of the week. If he is limited or DNP again this week, this is a huge deal and a huge problem. But if he's full practice the rest of the week, then it's likely that they were just resting him this week. Now, if he is limited or doesn't practice, the reason that this is a huge deal is because the calf is critical for getting off the line, accelerating, changing direction, top end speed. This is a speed shifty receiver. His calf is so critical for his game. And Joe, we've talked about this like 3 or 4 of the last weeks. Receivers take a massive dip in fantasy production in their first game after a calf injury. 43% drop in their fantasy production in the first game back. That is a lot. Less than 5% meet or exceed their pre-injury average fantasy points in that first game back. That's 1 out of 19 since 2017. Last week, Nico Collins returned from a calf injury. He played horrible except for a goal line touchdown that salvaged the day, and he still was well under his pre-injury average. Do you know what his longest catch was?
Handful of yards is my guess. I know he was having a bad game.
Yards.
Yeah,
7 yards was his longest catch. And this is a
that's
guy
not
who's
like
been
him.
getting he's been getting down the field all that tells us all we need to know. He did not have the ability to separate down the field because of this calf injury. If it wasn't for a goal line touchdown, he killed you last week. So Flowers, if he's not practicing this week, that is a big, big, big red flag. And even if he plays, you get him out of your lineup. However, if he's got 2 more full practices this week, then we're looking at this DNP today as just like a rest day for him and not as big of a problem.
Don't want to jinx anything here. Our research has been really, really good. Nothing has been more accurate, in my opinion, than the calf. Like I feel like you've nailed it all year long. Like our research and our data shows it. Like somebody's out with a calf injury and they're coming back and it's bad. The number, I missed the number that you said, Tom. The drop off.
43% drop
It's
off in
crazy.
fantasy production.
It's every. Of course, there's freak performances out there, but that's almost a lock for, and that's not enough. Zay Flowers is good, but you're not taking a 43% dip in Zay Flowers production. Absolutely not. So, well said, Tom.